All right. Howdy, guys. Happy Wednesday, December 7th. In about an hour, the market's going to close. We should be getting the GameStop press release. And then at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, I'll be live streaming the conference call with the execs. Hopefully it is one that lasts more than 5 minutes this quarter. We'll find out together. What's up, Christ? Christ is king. Bell, Biv, DeVoe, Cancel Bubble, Alan, good afternoon. Punchy Nuts, what's up? Oh, man. Yeah, we've been chatting in the Discord. I've been watching the news, reading the headlines. Nothing but bad news on the headlines and the economy. Carvana bankruptcy, tech firms laying off, inverted 10-year and 3-month yield curves. Jamie Dimon talking about layoffs. Jim Cramer talking down crypto. Come on, guys. At any rate, all that being said, it's what we got to deal with. And we see I'm on the right monitor here. We got the indexes all slightly in the red today. Decliners 37.28, advancers 29.67. And just not a whole lot of big money coming in to buy anything today. And the short sellers and the sellers in general are having a field day with prices. Tough day to make money. The plan is I'll listen to the conference call with you guys. We'll talk about GameStop a little bit, and then I'm going to go through a deep dive on the financials and then come back later tonight. We can hang out, and if I have anything interesting to report off those financials, we can go through it later this evening when we have time. Grandma Lou, good afternoon. Jeffrey, what's up? Ellie, howdy. Brian, Glizzy, 100 puts at 23.50. Yeah, it might be a smart play. I did think about it, but you never know with my luck, I'm going to wish you luck. With my luck, if I bought puts on GameStop, this would be the quarter that they announced the transformational plan. I decided instead, if it takes a major drop, I'm just going to go in and buy some more wherever it bottoms out instead of trying to play the downside. But I did post an article today about rumored layoffs. You guys might have seen that. I don't want to go too deep into that. Let's just hear what they have to say. 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, so 2 hours from now for the actual call. As far as some tickers to look at here, let's go through all the ones that everybody's been watching. Let me get on the right screen here. So AMC down 9%, $6.12. APE is at 81 cents. And I think I did finally convince myself. I posted something about reverse splits and delisting yesterday, and then I asked if anyone had further details on Twitter to let me know. And someone sent me something that said unless the main company goes bankrupt, preferred stocks can't be delisted. And all of the examples that I've found of preferred stocks that were delisted were bankruptcies. So I think that probably makes the most sense to me, that APE is not under reverse split / delisting risk, as long as AMC is fine. So that's where I am with that. GameStop down about 3.7% this morning, 22.52. Let's look at a few others. Let's do MMTLP. What an afternoon that one had yesterday, right? If you were watching that, it got all the way down to $5 or so. Wait, where's my... Yeah, it's so far down low that it's off the screen here. $5, and then either some very convicted buyers came in, or there was some short covering, ran it all the way back up to 956 at the end of the day yesterday. And then it's been trading in the $7.90 to $8.40 range today with a low early on in the day at 714. So, and then I'm sure if you're following that stock, you're following Bird Lady and all the people that have been posting the dates. It did get the FINRA corporate action notice published, and the countdown is on. Don't try and get me to guess if it's going to run up from here, because I don't. You guys, if you've been listening, you already know my thoughts. I don't want to be responsible for making someone buy or sell this stock at this point. All right, and over here we have Comms, the one that I waved the red flag on yesterday. COMS waved the red flag not for momentum trading, but just the fact that this company has not filed 10Qs in a year, switching out the CEOs, and a pending reverse split coming up soon. So if it's moving and you want to play the momentum, that's fine. But I think people posting bullish videos on COMS, I don't really know what they're looking at. Cosmos, down just slightly today. It had a bit of a recovery, trading up as high as 49 cents, currently at 46 cents and slightly in the red. MMAT, MMAT, up 4%. And Mullen is continuing to make its slow walk down just above 18 cents right now. CGRA, this very speculative swing trade that I'm still holding, got up to 12 cents today. It hasn't been losing, but can't really break above 12. So we'll see what happens with that. CRTD, I did hear a very inspiring speech from the CEO last night. Thanks for those that were pushing that around. I think the Marine has it on his YouTube channel. Very inspiring speech talking about naked shorts and how the system and his stock is manipulated. Despite that, very rousing speech. Still down 18% today. And Highcroft also getting slammed today, 7% in the red. Currently trading at 53 cents. And depending on what happens with the market news, I had said that my next buy on Highcroft to add to my position would be at 50 cents. I guess we'll see what the news in the market looks like Thursday and Friday, but that's kind of still my plan. Since I do plan to hold that for a long time, I really want to wait to get it as cheaply as possible. I don't want to try and buy too soon if it's still trending down below 50 cents. But man, what a ride Highcroft's been. Brian Hunt, good afternoon. Kelly says it's the market. Nothing new with the doom and gloom. Whatever stock you're holding, whether it's a blue chip, swing trade, a momentum trade, a small company that, pretty much everything is getting negative pressure right now. That's some selling from big money and just lack of big money wanting to come in when there's bad news like this in the market. Maggie, good afternoon. John asking, what is my opinion on CGRA? Great, the lawn people just showed up. I'm sure y'all can probably hear that. CGRA, John, I have not been able to find any due diligence on CGRA that makes me say, go out and buy that company. But the reason I bought it for a momentum trade is what I said the past 2 days. If COMS, GTII, all these other things fade, that people are going to be potentially looking for something, and CGRA is being talked up on other channels, and it's still relatively cheap, and it hasn't had that big spike down yet. So I'm watching it very closely. I'm not going to write it back down to 2 cents. I'll tell you that. If it starts having sustained negative pressure, I'll dump it in a second. I'm not married to that. I'm not even recommending it. It's just the one swing trade that I still have going. Not even worth me making a video on. Paul says silver and gold are rallying. Let's look at the silver and gold here for a sec. They are. Gold's up 1%, silver up 2.5%, and yeah, I would expect that Hycroft would be getting some upward momentum in conditions like that, and yet it's not. You can see more headlines here. And why are these headlines important? When Wells Fargo and Bank of America CEOs are saying the customer spending is cooling, what does that mean if we think 3 months ahead? Why is the market slowing down, buying slowing down in the market? Because these guys are thinking ahead to earnings in January, late January, February. And when those earnings come out, if consumer spending is slowing down, now Wall Street's already thinking earnings next quarter are going to be bad and stocks are going to be headed lower. So this is just something I want you to keep in the back of your mind for the next couple months if the market is facing uncertainty. What I said in the Discord today is, in fact, just shortly, there's buying things when prices come down, and then there's the inevitable realization that everything might go lower in the market than it currently is. And with that being still a real possibility, I've got to also, for my portfolio, just, hold on to dry powder. I don't want to be catching every dip if the next dip's going to be 30%. You know what I mean? Whether it's in a day or 2 weeks. So I'm going to be for myself, very critical about just keeping on buying the dips. I've already identified the companies I want to hold for the long term. I've already got positions in them. I've been buying many of them on dips. But I've got to resist the temptation to buy them every day on dips, because there could be more red ahead of us. So that's kind of my cautionary outlook on things. Maggie, I sold my I bought Cosmos on Monday at market open in hopes that the retail momentum would continue up on COSM. It did not on Monday, so I sold, and I talked about this Monday evening. I talked about it in the Discord Monday before the market closed. And I talked about it in Tuesday morning's live stream. I sold Cosmos before the market closed on Monday. So I have not been hit with that downturn yesterday on it. Raya and Jewel IPOs are supposed to be, yes, tomorrow. I already got the live stream scheduled for the morning. I have a pre-buy in on Raya. I don't own any Jewel, but we'll be watching both of those and see if there's any opportunity. Sometimes got to get out quick, and the pre-buy is the way. Sometimes they let us trade for a while. We'll be playing it by ear whenever they start trading. Am I still bullish on AMC? So Hooters is asking. Yes, I am. But you guys got to realize on my channel, what I'm talking about, my outlook on AMC is into 2023, counting on the movie cycle getting better in 2023, counting on every quarter that we've been in for the last 4, 5, 6 quarters getting better and better and better. And as long as that is continuing, then I remain bullish on AMC. I'm not minimizing that they have debt, certainly not minimizing that APE is getting wrecked. But as long as the company is moving towards profitability and stemming that cash burn, then I don't see any reason for me to be negative on AMC. Something changes where things flatten out or start turning down in their not in their profitability, but their progress towards top line revenue, then we'll address that at that time. But we're not there right now. Maggie says Mudrick dumped a lot of Hycroft. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Mudrick sold off a portion of their Hycroft, and I think that now puts AMC in the #1 ownership position of Hycroft. But behind us, behind retail. Aleman says, just talked to my buddy at Goldman Sachs. He made fun of me for thinking the SPY can hold above 400 in the future. Let me put the SPY back up here. How much of a future are we talking about? I mean, seriously, if Q4 numbers for retail and tech companies and all of these are dismal in late January, early February, yeah, we're not going to see 400 for a while. But what happens between now and the next round of earnings? Anybody's guess. You can see the line I have drawn on here. Let me go to the weekly. This is where I think that it's potentially heading. And if we break below this line, then look out below. So in the next couple weeks, that would be around 370-ish. Right now we're still doing okay, but we can't ignore all the headlines going on everywhere. And we'll have to wait also and see what the Fed does next week. If you're a long-term investor in your portfolio, you know, the general advice for long-term investors, as long as you're holding companies you believe in, companies that aren't at risk of going bankrupt in the next 12 months, is hold for the long term and buy on the dips. No one wants to be buying at the top. But that buying those dips and holding for the long term, that is sometimes a different mentality than a lot of people that are watching YouTube are used to. They're chasing the, I want the 100% runner that's going to run tomorrow. And those are out there, and we look for them every day. But I also have a good sized portion of my portfolio in things that I plan on holding for 10 years. So what happens in the next 3 months or even the next 12 on anything really is irrelevant to me. I'm not selling stuff that I plan on holding, because what if I sold right at the bottom and then it starts running up? Lordy, good afternoon. Kelly says, Kelly likes Hellbiz. I think I had Hellbiz up on one of these other charts here. Oh, it's actually up today. All right. I'm not in that play, but yeah, it's Hellbiz is turned the day around. Now up 5%. Very nice. Good job. May Ape says, am I planning to jump back in Cosmos? I've been thinking about that. I have not. Who is pushing the Friday news rumor? You guys tell me where to go, because I don't watch a lot of other YouTubers. But I heard Teddy, I checked in on him for a couple minutes today, and I heard him say something about potential news on Friday. And I haven't been keeping up with COSM, what that might be. When I talked to Frank the other day, what I heard him say was that any potential acquisitions were a ways out. I don't know. Did you guys hear that too? Or was that just me? But at the end of the day, whatever he might have said and whatever the truth are might not matter if enough people think that there's something coming on Friday, right? I thought about it. I thought about grabbing a little bit today when it was at 39. Would have been up 15% if I would have done that today. Andrew says the market needs a reset. Just crash already and get it over with. I know, right? If you're going to do it, just fucking do it. Why are you dragging it out on us like this? Shit. Mountaineer in Florida says that algos took GameStop down to the trend line and bounced. Yeah, I was watching GameStop today, and I have, let me get my GameStop chart up here. I have these lines drawn, and it got really damn close. And what I said early this morning is, at this point, with it being that close to my bottom line support where I'd like to buy in, since this is earnings day, I'm not going to bite today. I'm just going to take a chance and see what the news is after the market closes today. If it's good news, obviously it's going to rally up, and after hours, I'm already holding GameStop, so that's great. If it's bad news after hours, then it will probably break below 22, and I can pick it up even lower than I was hoping to buy it on a low bounce. So I'm just going to wait and see what GameStop does this afternoon. Will I buy more AMC if the price keeps going down? So I said yesterday, my last buy on APE was at $1. I've only been adding APE since August. And considering the velocity that it's falling, and Adam Aron's not saying anything, and I don't really understand why it's being punished so bad, that I am done for the moment on adding on dips. Same little speech I gave at the beginning of this live stream. I'm going to hold my dry powder for a ridiculous dip. So I will be adding APE, God forbid, if it hits 50 cents. If it stabilizes around 80 and hangs out there for a while, I might add some. But I mean, when something's going down 5, 6, 7, 10% a day, I don't need to go in and buy it every day. You got to wait. You got to wait and be smart and wait for signs that the dip is over. This has been almost a month now, 2 months of nothing but straight down. I can't go buy that every day. I haven't been buying it every day. I have targets of where I'm buying it, and I usually look for like a 20% drop before I add some more. But I mean, this is getting ridiculous. I got to stop and see where it settles in at. Someone's asking about Cosmos updates. Realize open. All I've heard, Realize, is Teddy was talking. And guys, if you know who is putting the videos out, or maybe a tweet, maybe there's something from Frank I need to go look for. I heard a rumor that there might be news on Friday. I have no idea. If people believe that, or if it's true, there could be some upward momentum in Cosmos. I'm out of it as of Monday afternoon, right before the market close. That was somewhere in the 50s. And I'm just watching the momentum, and no plans to buy some today. We'll see. I mean, I haven't had time to look into any Cosmos news in the past day. When is the Santa rally, right? Fuck, man. Might need to start wearing my Santa hat. I'll start my own Santa rally. Get the eggnog ready, kids. Apple to 120. I've been hearing more and more news about Apple's slowdown in production, and might be a good time to start planning your dip buys on Apple. Yes. You can see the trend line I have drawn where I'd like to buy Apple. I'm not holding it. I'm kind of waiting for a bounce or a break off of this line, and that would be in the 120s. This is kind of my target buy line for Apple, and it's not low enough for me yet. But it could be soon. Could be very soon. Kyle, thank you, buddy. Appreciate
Tony
you.
always gives the best advice. Just needed to hear it from someone else.
Keygen says, why listen to GME Earnings Call? Every call, Keygen, I hope is the one where someone gets on the damn call and says, all right, we've had a year of strategically changing the company, hiring engineers, hiring programmers, doing this, doing that, and we're ready to announce what that is. Every earnings call, I'm hoping for the announcement. And, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history if today is the day. If they're not ready to announce something, we're going to have another quarter of cash burn. We've got rumors of layoffs. And we just hope that there was some earnings improvement over previous quarter. And then wait 3 more months. Vic asking, will APE ever see $1 again? Yeah, it's driving all of us crazy, Vic. I'm right there with you. The best I can say, the way I'm looking at it, and some might say that I'm putting too much weight on one thing, but I think the Avatar and the good news that comes off of that could have a beneficial effect on AMC. But as I said on the last live stream that I did yesterday during the day, we're going to have to, we could be potentially be opposed with overall market bad news, like is what has been nothing in the headlines, nothing but bad news in the headlines and on TV all day today. Everything. Bad, bad, bad. Layoffs, bankruptcies, CEOs coming out saying recession next quarter. It's hard for me to make fast and firm predictions on AMC and APE. Even if I'm bullish on Avatar, which I am, it would be nice to have that in sync with some good news, maybe from Jerry Powell, and the market gets a little bit of hope to put some big money back into the market. So roll the dice. Let's hope that both happen, that we have Avatar, big box office revenues in conjunction with overall market good news. If it's 1 and -1, harder for me to say what's going to happen. But as I said earlier, barring any out of the blue catalyst, I'm looking at my AMC investment more patiently than some other channels, focusing on the 2023 movie cycle and every quarter just being better than the one before that. Unless it's an off quarter like Q3, which we know seasonality plays into it. Kathy. How low can APE go? I mean, hell if I know. I'm just in shock that we're at where we're at. I'm in shock that we're below $1. APE, here we go. But if you weren't on the live stream a few minutes ago, what I said is my last buy was at $1. I've bought plenty since August of APE, and I'm just going to take a pause on everything. This is not specific to AMC and APE. With the bad news going on in the market and APE having months of nothing but just going down, I'm not going to be trying to buy at 90 and then 80 and then 70 and 60. I'm going to wait and see if it gets down to 50 and then make a reassessment. But that will be my next potential buy-in on APE. That's just me. You guys do what you want. Do I think the market drop is pricing in bad PPI? Could be PPI, and it could be worries about the Fed. Yes. There is economic news coming out. And it sucks when the market is worried about that stuff because nobody wants to take any action. No, big money. 75% of the trades every week, if there's whether there are buys or sells going on, is big institutions and high-speed trading firms. Yes, we think that we are important, but we're a small part, retail, of the overall market. Now, in some small low-float stocks, we can move things. Or if our firepower is concentrated in one play, we can move things. But in general, when I'm looking at the broader market, if they just take the day off or say sell or short, not much we can do. You just got to get out of the way, wait for it to bottom out, and then if it was something you wanted to buy, come in and buy it. I'm stepping out of the way today. And I take that decision day by day. As soon as I see momentum turn around, depending on what stock it is, sometimes I'm looking for 2 days of momentum. Sometimes I need to see the market news also changing. I'll reevaluate. But today, my gut tells me just step out of the way today. Mr. Mills says early reviews for Avatar are great. Yeah, I saw a BBC article from the premiere. It said everything you want to know about the new Avatar, and it was a great article. But they didn't say if the movie was good or not, and that drove me nuts. Like, how can you... The only thing I want to know is, did you like the movie? Oh, man. I also saw that it said the next Avatar is already filmed and supposed to release in 2024, supposedly. And the other key point, which differed greatly from what I had been hearing, is that this Avatar cost to make $350 million, which seems pretty cheap. I know the $2 billion number was going around out there. $350 million plus marketing costs, if that number is right, means it probably needs to make about $750 million or so to break even. Andrew's saying Adam Aaron's silence right now is kind of crazy. I'm biting my tongue every day, Andrew. I want to tweet something so bad. It is driving all of us nuts. I agree. Especially when, he's tweeting, he's putting out about the movie premieres, like you said, and then he gets 300 comments. Adam, say something about APE. Hey, I'm human too. I'm frustrated by his lack of saying something. I've said it here many times. He needs to come out and talk about APE, or even better, in my book, get all the executives to buy it as a sign of support. Like, what the hell, Adam? Really? But like you say in the comments there, if they are manipulating it, if they're purposely targeting it, if they're aggressively naked shorting it or day trade shorting it, right now, there's not much we can do. We can buy to oblivion if they're willing to take manipulative tactics. The only logical choice is get out of the way till they're done. Stop buying. Let it bottom out. Add to your position when it bottoms out, and then ride the inevitable ride back up when the good news cycle comes back. Aliman says, Wall Street Bets top users calling SPY to 500. Jack and Kathy want me to tweet Adam Aaron. I would, Jack and Kathy. I might. I was going to say I would, but I don't need to discuss the buts here. Everybody's got a big butt, Dottie. If he wants to make a statement, Corey says he should buy NWBO. What is NWBO? Northwest Bio. Not 5 cents. Holy smokes. That thing went up to $1.27 back in November. Oh, 90 cents. 90 cents. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping Adam Aaron is done buying other companies that are not in his wheelhouse. We talked about this a week ago, starting a Twitter hashtag called the APE Challenge, challenging the executive staff and the board to buy APE. On that particular evening live stream, everybody liked the idea, but I don't know if I want to be that guy that, I've been mostly supportive of Adam Aaron, although, I give nobody a free pass. You guys know that. I don't know if I want to be that guy to start a challenge of the executives. For all I know, he's got something working. Kyle, were you the one that posted in the Discord Adam Aaron's phone number? I do not have his phone number. I've never talked to him. He doesn't answer my DMs. I've complained to him about a few things. It makes me laugh when I hear these gutless wonders on Twitter and YouTube. Oh, Tony Denaro just wants to make a movie with Adam Aaron. Like, dumbass. He owns a movie company. Second of all, the only time I've ever talked to him just to say you're doing a good job and thank you is when he was in Dallas. I have not talked to him since then, but I have DM'd him some complaints. No answer. Complained about the bars here and AMC theaters not having bartenders on the weekends. What else did I complain about? Something else, but he doesn't answer me. So no, I'm not doing a movie with Adam Aaron, or angling for one. Corey says, yes, there is one company. I saw that suing Citadel. Oh, that was that one that you mentioned in whatever, the biotech suing Citadel. So I'm seeing companies suing Citadel. I'm seeing companies hiring attorneys. These are all things we talked about a year and a half ago, and then we all kind of said, as a majority, not everybody, but as a majority, everybody said, no, that's going to take too long. This is going to squeeze before that. Well, here we are in December 2022, and it's looking like maybe we should have been pushing harder for at least what I call parallel path. And who would hire attorneys to go investigate this stuff? It has to be the company, not us. And no, it's not going to get AMC delisted. That's more Lou nonsense. A lawsuit or, having an investigation started is not going to delist jack shit. Lou should have never said that stuff. Got people all worried for nothing. But you can do parallel path stuff. While the company is improving over the next several quarters, you can also launch an investigation at them. Why not? Why are people like the CEO of Created and the CEOs of GTII and Overstock, and why are these people willing to take a stand? Why aren't all CEOs doing this, but especially AMC and GameStop? Is that yeah, I have, it's probably Hekanashi candles. Let me switch them here. Usually I have them on Hekanashi. All right, 15 minutes to market close. AMC is now down over 10%, APE down 9.6%, GameStop down 3%, S&P in the red. All the indexes in the red. GTII, God help you if you're still in that one. Although, sometimes just for fun on these pump and dump plays, especially, with the upstream listing and things like that. If this were to get down to 40 cents, I might grab a little bit just for the next little retail pump. Even if it only went to $1, I might have to hold it 6 months. But I'm not getting in front of this one. And MMTLP is at 769 on time and sales down here. Comms down 18%. COSM down 5.5%. MMAT up 4%. Mullen trading just above 18 cents. Dark Latin, what's up, brother? Today we're bobbing and weaving. We're fighting the good fight by trying to survive to the next round. It's all you can do on a day like this. Yeah, I was reading about Carvana, Jim. Carvana, if I can, I have not been following Carvana close. Obviously, I've seen the headlines, but I read an article on it today. I guess, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. It looked like they were struggling due to lack of inventory, and then they were losing money. And then they decided to double down by buying another company, maybe an auction company, a car auction company. And things continued right after they did that. Market conditions for used autos got even worse. And now they're, on the verge of bankruptcy. And all their creditors have banded together, including who? Apollo Management. Why does that name keep on popping up everywhere? So the creditors are probably going to end up getting control of that company. And that every time I hear something like that, it just makes me mad. And it makes me think about all the stories that we have heard of these creditors and these hedge funds working together to bankrupt companies, to take control of them, either to get the assets, to restructure the debt and relaunch them themselves and then relist it. Just infuriating. And Apollo Management shows up time after time. Dark Latin says, I'm under the assumption they can't speak given the situation. I mean, we feel it viscerally, right? We want the CEOs of all these companies, these little companies that people are holding, to say something. And when you see a couple of them that do, it makes it even more striking when the one that you want to say something is not. But if you look at the thousands of companies, 5, 6, 7,000 companies, most of them are down, and you don't see 7,000 CEOs coming out talking about it. They're sharpening their pencils, laying off staff, making cost-cutting measures, doing what they can to survive because they know there's not much they can do in a down market. So that gives me, like you, Dark Latin, that gives me a little bit of peace, even though I get it. It's frustrating. I feel confident that they are doing the right things they need to do to see the company through to greener days, to brighter days. And when money's ready to come back in the market, then everything's going to go back up. Anything that didn't go bankrupt. Right? Sub has the boss. How come created... The CEO is not going to get sued for speaking out against naked shorting. I don't know who's saying that, but filing a lawsuit, speaking out against manipulation and illegal shorts is not going to get you in trouble with the SEC or get you fired. Whoever's saying that stuff, that is nonsense. There are SEC regulations that say a company cannot purposely do something to incite a short squeeze. I don't know the exact words, and I don't even know if it's written down. I've searched for it. You can Google it. It's hard to find, but a company cannot incite a short squeeze, so they do have to be careful what they say. Oh, MK was talking highly of Carvana way back. I mean, it used to be a pumping stock, right? How far has Carvana fallen? From like 350 to $5? 376. Just when you're thinking you're having a bad day, you guys, you could have bought Carvana at 376. $3.82 right now, down 99%. Crazy. That was just a little bit over a year ago. Don't forget, there's always somebody in some stock that is way worse off than you are. You know, if you're in Gamestop, they still have plenty of cash. Supposedly they have a plan. I'm hoping to hear about it today. AMC and APE, they have some cash, enough to last them at least through the next year, by my estimate, unless something horrible happens. And as more and more movies come out, the amount of cash they burn every quarter should get smaller and smaller. So, yeah, we're getting beat up in ape land, but it is what it is. We're not in a Carvana situation. Matt P says, does the CEO of Created actually have a plan to combat the naked shorts? didn't he hire the company that goes in and does the audits? He didn't hire an attorney, but GTII hired Wes Christensen, and I think hired this other company, which we talked about a year and a half ago, that was saying they could audit all of the transactions and supposedly through their proprietary software sniff out manipulation. I looked in that company. I looked into that company. In fact, it was being pushed by Wes. And I was wondering if there was maybe a unsavory symbiotic relationship there. So I didn't push it or dig into it because like I don't want to be pushing somebody that's just doing a money grab. But I will, with great interest, follow what GTII and Created are able to uncover. And by God, if they are able to make headway, then we're going to pound the drums. John says keeping shareholders informed isn't illegal either. Yeah. He could speak out. I mean, Adam Aaron certainly could speak out and say, look, I know APE has been really beaten down. Tell us something. Say something. Just ignoring it is what's making you and me mad. I get it. I'm right there with you. I have no doubt, even though I trust the management that they're doing the right thing in the background. I share your frustrations. I'm as human as you are. All right, let's take a look at GameStop again. All right, it just dropped below my support line that I drew 3 months ago. For the second time. Last time it did that was in December. The market, I think, is not expecting good news. On the bright side, if there is good news, it's going to rocket back up. So we will find out here shortly. I expect that the results will be released right after the bell, and then 1 hour from now, we'll still be here. We'll host the conference call. Maggie, yes, Maggie, we're going to listen. I'm going to hang out here with you guys and just chat until the call. Edward says Boss Blintz called me out saying APE would be delisted. I didn't say APE would be delisted. I posted the delisting rules, and several people commented. The delisting rules on NYSE is you have to be under $1 for 30 consecutive days. I've said many times, many times, both on live streams and in my Discord, that I do not know if a preferred share can be delisted. That we've heard that it cannot, right? You guys who listen regularly, I've said that over and over, and that I was looking into it. And a couple people commented on my tweet and said it can't be delisted. I said, yes, that's true. That could be true. And if you have a link, because I can't find one, let me know. And then fortunately, someone sent me it, and I retweeted that today. So I think it's cleared up. Like I said in the very beginning of this live stream today, I'm satisfied now based on reading what I read this morning, thanks to the gentleman who sent the information. It looks like a preferred stock cannot be delisted unless the parent company goes bankrupt. So Marcel, please forgive me. I was not saying APE would be delisted. I was responding to an article that was published saying APE is going to be delisted. And I was like, hold on now. First of all, even if it were delisted, we wouldn't even be worried about that till mid-January because it's got to be 30 consecutive trading days under $1. Do you really think APE is going to be under $1 every single day between now and January 15th? I don't. So I was trying to actually make the case that even if it could be delisted, it probably wouldn't be. And again, thanks to the folks who sent me the actual text from a regulation that says it can't be, because I have been looking for that. Hopefully we're all square now. I was not trying to spread FUD. I was trying to calm fears. But, you know, it's hard to judge intent on Twitter if you're not listening in to my live streams where I say what I mean. I'll send him a note. Marcel and I talked. You know, he could have just DM'd me and asked. I've been asking for a while and expressing my frustration that I couldn't find the actual words that talk about preferred shares. And I have been looking. Look at Mullen. Mullen caught a green bar. Look at that. What the heck? Massive volume right at the market close. A short covering, maybe. Some big buyer coming in because they know some news that we don't yet. Don't know. 2 minutes to go on the trading day. NASCAR says, wasn't there a theory that APE and AMC would eventually stabilize to trade at identical price? Yeah, that was many people's theory, including mine. Has not panned out. Still early in the life of APE, though. Edward says, why not make Adam Aaron buy APE with the cash on hand that would buy 80% of APE? I mean, Edward, they want to sell APE to raise more cash. They're not gonna spend company cash on APE. Right now, as you're entering a rising interest rate recessionary cycle, you want to, as a company, hang on to all of your cash. And the idea of APE was to sell more and more of it to raise cash, ideally at much higher prices than we're at right now. So I don't foresee any company buying of APE. The executives and the board should buy it with their own checkbook. That's what I think. B, good job on SMMT. Guys, I cannot believe that. I just turned off the trading windows after the live stream yesterday. We were watching Summit in the morning. It had a nice run in pre-market, and I was looking to see if it could keep on trading up all day and jump in it. And that was kind of like, as that one was trading flat, that was my last hope to trade something that day. I was like, well, fuck it. Today's going to be a bad day. So I didn't buy it. And then when I saw that freaking run up later in the night, oh, man. Missed opportunity. This is Mullen right here. It's just a run from 19 cents to 20. Let's be real. It's not. It's a 1 penny run, but it looks nice, so we'll leave it up there for a second. Now let's put GameStop up now that the market's closed. Spanish John says we should have sold APE in the first few days of the listing and bought more AMC. I mean, in retrospect, Spanish John, I don't think anybody would argue with that. Stale says he sold APE at $10. Well, you killed it. I mean, again, in retrospect, that was a boss move. I don't think AMC was expecting to see it plummet in 3 months to under a buck. I certainly was not. One of my biggest bad forecasts this year. If anybody needs to clip Tony Denaro getting something wrong, that is the thing to clip. What they did not get right, the reason they were saying to sell APE is where they fucked up. They were saying sell APE because you can avoid dilution by selling it and buying AMC. That is factually incorrect. APE and AMC both get combined together onto the financial statement into earnings per share. So the more APE they sell, the more AMC is going to be diluted. That is what pissed me off, that these guys were telling people to sell APE on bad financial advice. A misunderstanding of how dilution works when you have two tickers like that. And I felt that the market would know that, even if retail didn't. Hasn't worked out. And the other thing that I thought about recently is that I don't know why it took me so long to come to this realization. I probably should have been on top of this, but should have been on top of this early. But, you know, I don't know everything. Sometimes I learn things as I go. I was thinking, as I've said in a couple recent live streams, that institutions that are required to hold AMC because of all the ETFs they have, mainly being Vanguard and BlackRock, the ones that have very large positions in AMC, they got that APE distribution just like we did, but APE is not in an ETF. So that big sell in the first few days was probably those guys unloading it also. They probably pulled the plug really quick. Now that I'm thinking about it, why, they're probably saying this thing's going to be diluted. It's already going down. Sell it all. Sell it now. And that started us on a bad down cycle. But as I only saw a handful of 13Fs filed of any institutions owning APE. My guess is they all dumped it, every single one of them. Robert says, if APE ever gets converted to AMC, it is a good buy. That is how I'm looking at it, Robert. Even though I'm hoping the next squeeze happens I think the conversion of APE to AMC is not going to be for many, many years. Big red candle on the moment for GameStop. Did the earnings come out? I'm hoping the next squeeze happens long before we got to worry about APE being converted, but if it does, I agree with you. It should be a smarter investment. It's bouncing all over the place. I couldn't find that they had dropped yet the press release on earnings. Lordy says, if APE gets converted to AMC, that would double the float. Would that mean the price would be cut in half? I've been thinking about that too, Lordy. And here's, you guys feel free to take my analysis and see if it makes sense to you. When AMC and APE split, the price of AMC split and part of it went off to AMC. So what I'm thinking, no matter what, whether we have 1 billion APEs or 2 billion, whenever that happens, or like right now, 530,000 APEs, I'm thinking that it will just be a recombination of the two prices. So if APE were at $1 and AMC was at $7 and they recombined them today, I think that you would see AMC's price go to $8. And the total float would be the number of shares of APE plus the number of shares of AMC. Does that make sense? It'd just be like undoing what they did. But you've got to take the current amount of shares of APE on the day that they combine them, and that will be the total shares of AMC. I don't think that they would minus APE. We had one price, we took a chunk of it, moved it over here. When we recombine them, that price will just go right back and you get a new price for AMC. All right, let me refresh Twitter. GameStop earnings and revenue miss estimates. Earnings per share negative 31 cents. Estimated was 28. Revenue 1.19 billion. Estimated was 1.35. Well, here's another one that says, yeah, the consensus was 29. That's off by 2 cents, but either way, it looks like they missed it by a couple pennies. Let me pull this tweet up for you guys. Net sales were 1.18 billion compared to 1.297 third quarter a year ago. Damn, they couldn't even beat a year ago. Sales attributable to new and expanded brand relationships were strong in the quarter, while sales in the collectibles category remained strong on a year-to-date basis. SG&A were $387 million, 32% of sales, compared to $421 or 32% a year prior. So no real cost cutting. SG&A was still 32%. It says as a percentage of revenue, it was down on a sequential basis from 34% in Q2. Here they're trying to spin that as cost reduction. Inventory at 1.13 billion at the close of the quarter compared to 1.14 billion a year ago. Cash and cash equivalents 1.04 billion, and long-term debt remains limited to a low-interest unsecured term loan associated with the French government's response to COVID-19. Well, let's see what the market thinks. Really, The only thing that matters for me for GameStop is when are they going to announce the transformational plan? That is why I'm in that play. And if you're gonna tell me they already did and it's the NFT marketplace, that's probably not good enough for me. I'm expecting something more. I don't know about you guys. John, I'm not exactly sure what their fiscal calendar is, if it ends in December or January. I'll pull up the financials when they post it. Chris says there was an offering on RXDX and the price is going up. Yeah, we were watching this one today as a potential short play. I don't short, but I spoke to one of our members about it that does, because of that huge gap up. This was over, as far as I can tell, it was over news of this, where is it? Moving a drug into phase 3 studies. That just seems like too big of a jump. Prometheus Bioscience skyrockets after favorable data from ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease studies. Now, I only know one person in my life that ever had Crohn's disease, so I'm not an expert in it. I don't know if there's any effective treatment for it, but if they have one and they get it all the way through trials, that could be a game changer for them. Maybe that's why it ran up. What's up, Angelina? Pantheon, what's going on, buddy? What do you think, Pantheon, about what would happen with the price of AMC and APE? Let's just say there were 1 billion apes and we were trading at $7 and $1. What do you think? I know that we'd be looking at total shares of 1.5 billion. You'd have to vote to approve 1 billion new AMC shares. If everybody said yes, APE would convert to AMC. But what do you think the market would do to the price? I'm thinking you'd see $8. As they recombine, just like they split apart on the split. The blue line, you're asking about this blue line on GameStop. That was kind of like my wedge that I had drawn in here. I was looking for breakout levels to the upside and to the downside. And the yellow lines were kind of like my I'd like to buy in this zone. What's up, Darren? We are going to have the GME call here in 45 minutes. So hang out with us. Feel free to ask questions about whatever's on your mind while we kill a little bit of time. Let's see how a few other things are doing in aftermarket. I'm going to leave GameStop up there and just talk about these if there's anything interesting. MMTLP. Looks like it closed at $7, down 15%. Comms is up 2% in after hours, but it closed at 10 cents. Cosmos closed at 45 cents. Still red in the after hours. MMAT green today. $2 and a nickel. Flat after hours. And Mullen had a big jump, but it is trading right now in after hours at 19 cents, 0.29. AMC. Still basically flat after hours, $6.02. APE is at 80.5 cents. Trades with Jake says, if the naked shorts weren't so manipulation, do I think it would be over $1? Absolutely. I mean, whether it's naked shorts or day trading retail shorts or high speed trading shorts, it's being heavily shorted. Who knows if they're naked? The daily short volume, you can see there's a shit ton of shorting going on. I think that quite likely a lot of those are being closed out and then just reopened and push it down, push it down, push it down. Try and break retail's will like we see on many plays. Could there be naked shorts too? Absolutely. Just like on any play. Steven, welcome back. He says he took a break after Ryan left Bed Bath & Beyond. I can't blame you. A lot of people were literally felt rug pulled by that. Who was it? Who interviewed him where he talked about that? Was it Super Stonk? There was a recent interview a couple weeks ago with Ryan Cohen where he just said, I realized that investment was not going to work out the way that I wanted. Why isn't Mullen delisted? Sub has the boss. They have a they have a delisting notice that's been handed to them. There is a meeting later this month that's scheduled to do a reverse split and to up the dilution to a total of 5 billion shares. For those two reasons, for me, having not bought into Mullen ever yet, and saying a few weeks ago I'd consider it at 25 cents. And then the day before it hit 25 cents, that meeting announcement came out. I'm kind of like thinking I'd like to get it at 10 cents now. 5 billion dilution and a reverse split. while it might be financially necessary for the company and they're doing the right thing for the company, is going to obliterate shareholders. Just look, I'm not in the play. I want to get in it, but that's how I'm looking at it right now. Not good news. What could change that? Some good news from Mullen. Any good news. Real news, not puff piece news. SMMT still moving after hours. I haven't looked at it recently. SM Summit. Man, got up to 320 today. Well, that's what I get for taking the day off from watching the charts. There just wasn't much to trade this morning. And again, Summit didn't start moving until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Son of a bitch. GameStop holding at 22.44. I mean, considering the press release not meeting expectation, that's pretty respectable, I'd say. Mountaineer says illegal gambling world has more rules and regulations than Wall Street. It is frustrating, guys. I get it. I saw another EV company. Maybe you guys saw this press release. I already forgot the name of it, but it was I think a Vietnamese EV company, nice looking little car that wants to do a US IPO. I'll have to look into that to see if they're in production or if it's just their one prototype that they had the photo of. Trip revoked. What's going on, buddy? Now that the fake liquidity is gone, how do the FTDs get covered? I don't know if I have any magic answer for FTDs. Galen asking, when is T90? You have to go ask one of the T90 due diligence folks. That's not something I talk about because my look into T90, T plus 90 told me that it is not a legit theory. Hang on one second. I'm sending boss a note. All right. Carvana down 42%. Yeah, they're in rough waters, Carvana. Doesn't reverse split reduce the shares, MaxDog? Yes, yes. And that is a good question. If we're talking about Mullen, which do they push first? Do they split it? Do they do they issue 5 billion shares or increase the float to 5 billion and then do the reverse split? I don't know. I don't know what order they're going to do it in. Mullen does have IGO partnership in the European Union, and they have the trucks and vans. Can't think of the name right now. I've said it every day for the past week, and right now I can't think of it. Anyways, they have been very clear that the bulk of their revenue, though, is expected to come from the Mullen 5. So while that will be helpful to them, I'm not counting on that being any. It will be some good news when they start delivering those. But I think the dealership that ordered the IGO said they're going to order like 300 cars. I mean, we need thousands. We need thousands and thousands of Mullen 5s produced, not 300 vehicles that they get a commission on. So I would just say, temper your expectations. Go read about the IGO deal. What I just repeated to you was in the documentation that they've published. It will be bullishly received, but it's not game changer for me. John's Touchpad says he thinks that GameStop's fiscal year ends January 31st. Yeah, usually depending on the company, it's either end of December or end of January. And I think most of them do end of January just because of the holidays. The best news that I'm looking for Mullen is that they're ready to go with full production of Mullen 5. That's, I think once you see that, as long as they can last until then, even if that takes a year from now, and I don't see any reason why they won't last till then. But once they get to that point, then you'll start seeing this ticker take off. So I'll hold a little bit, even if it takes a year, but I just want to make sure. I mean, if I think right now it potentially could drop from 20 to 15 or 10, I'd rather wait. I've resisted buying it all this time. It's not a big deal for me to wait a few more days as we get closer to the shareholder meeting and see if I can catch it lower. If I got to buy it at 23, 24, that's cool. If I'm wrong. But in my view, just my opinion, they got to get in full production of the Mullen 5. That's when you'll start making some money on that stock. Angelina says she's also in Lucid. Lucid has some really nice cars. They need to get their production numbers up. If I'm not mistaken, they were the ones that were like bypassing all the orders for the regular Lucid and only building the premium ones, which, financially makes sense, right? You're going to build the ones that give you the biggest overall profit, but they're pissing some people off because their orders are getting skipped. Bird Eye says Mullen needs to be making 50,000 cars a year to make the stock good. But, when I say full production of the Mullen 5, I'm not talking 2,000 Mullen 5s. Yes, you got to be putting out a shit ton of cars. I haven't done the math to figure out the numbers, but 300, 1,000 per quarter, it's got to be a significant amount. 50,000 might be right. It's expensive to run a factory and tool it up. And if their factory just consists of rolling a van into a warehouse and having some guys strap on some Mullen specific parts, well, those aren't going to be high profit margin vehicles. You need to have something moving down an assembly line. Something that you build from scratch. Charge point, I like, Basil. We were looking at Volta versus Charge Point a couple days ago. Blink I haven't looked into recently. Charge Point is on my buy on the dips, hold for 10 years. Why did Adam Aaron sell so many shares in the $2 and change range when they have cash? I don't know. I did not want to contemplate him selling it anywhere in this price range, but I was surmising that he might be because of the downward pressure on the stock. What is he doing now? No clue. I'm just praying that he hasn't been selling it since the last update we got, and the price is even lower than $2. Now we're below $1. I'm hoping to high heaven that he's not selling it, but I don't know. Why doesn't T90 apply to APE? Galen. So I've looked into all the documentation that they provided me about the syndicates, and I tweeted it out a month or two ago. You can go look through my tweet history. A syndicate is a group of brokers that get shares from another broker that's doing an IPO, and they push out the stock, and then they have expenses from that IPO push. And I posted what the 90 days is actually for, actual words from the regulation. It's for 90 days to clean up things like vehicle expenses, telephone bills, food and entertainment. I could not find anything about a syndicate having 90 days to close out shorts, reading through that regulation. And I have asked anybody that wants to come talk about it to do a live with me, and folks forwarded that to Wade Houston. He's like, no, I never said that, this T90 thing, I talked about that a long time ago, and I don't really know. He just walked away from the discussion. So, but I'm happy. I'll pull up the documents and talk through it with anybody. But they need to provide their documents. It's not going to be I just think that that's it. You need to come to me with your documents, or better yet, send them before we have the live stream. It could be a learning experience for everybody, but I've already posted mine. I don't want to debate and get in a fight with anybody. I want to help everybody learn together. But the way to do that is go all the way through the documents and read everything about it, and then share it with people, not just get on a microphone and talk about it. I have a calendar too, but I also have the documents that say, nothing about failures to deliver. if you're talking about Frank on Al's channel, I mean, I don't listen to clickbait. I've proven so many things wrong that those guys put out a year ago that I just stopped listening. It's just a waste of my time. Road to Damascus says it was a theory based on overstock and Tesla dividend distribution. I mean, yeah. And I'm sure we could find other distributions of dividends that did nothing, right? You can't just pick 2 out of hundreds and say, based on this, there's your evidence. That's not evidence. Wade Houston published the regulation number, so I looked it up and I read through it, and it had nothing to do with failures to deliver. Or Houston Wade, whatever his name is. Nothing against the guy. I mean, at least he, credit to him for publishing at least a regulation for people to read. But when I read through it with just a unbiased, let me see what I can find. If I got something good to share, I'll get it out. When I read through it, it just didn't stack up to anything meaningful to me. Clark, how you doing, buddy? Steven. Also. Yeah, and I see these guys, they keep on shifting the... I heard someone say now T90 is in January. Every time one of their dates doesn't hit. I said a long time ago, guys, we need to stop pushing dates in this community. Not one has been right. It just builds people up and then rug pulls them. Like we're doing it to ourselves. The people that have a platform and a big voice are constantly rug pulling their audience, not intentionally, but that's the net effect. I'd rather everybody just talk about improving fundamentals. Every quarter has been better than the one before. The ramp of revenue and concessions, the number of better movies coming out. Like, why can't we just talk about the good things? Why do we have to create things based on hypotheticals? I get it. A lot of people just need something to make 10 videos about a day. I get it. But that's not what I'm here for. Gus says, if Adam Aaron decided to buy back APE, would all of our APE shares be added to our AMC shares? So, yeah, Gus, just a wording clarification. It will be, or maybe you're asking something different. Are you talking about the conversion of APE to AMC? The conversion, we will have to vote. Let's just say there were 1 billion APEs issued by 6 months from now. And Adam Aaron said, we want to bring all those home. We're going to post a vote at the next shareholder meeting for authorization of 1 billion new AMC shares. We want you guys to vote on it. And the purpose of those billion is to convert APE back to AMC. They'll have to word it like that. And if the shareholders all vote yes, if the majority votes yes, then almost immediately APE will go away, and everyone that has an APE will get a share of AMC. And my guess is the price of the two will be added together for the new price, the recombined AMC. Dream of Stuff says, do we know what happened to Roaring Kitty? I imagine since his company got fined and he got hauled in front of Congress, he was probably told by his attorneys just to lay low, enjoy his gains, and lay low for a while. Stay out of legal trouble. Could be worse than that, right? Could have people looking for him, people that lost money. The hedgies. Slay 215. What happened with Highcroft? I don't know. I mean, Highcroft's fine from where I'm sitting, but I know you guys listen to other channels that call me bearish on Highcroft. I have a different schedule. That doesn't make me bearish. I own Highcroft. I own the year 2025 calls. I'm as bullish on a speculative play as you would want me to be on Highcroft, and I'm not worried about what happens in the next 12 months on it. Because if you've watched my videos, I've explained why it's a long-term play. Now, the ones you should be asking what happened are the ones calling me a shill, a bear, shorting it. They're the ones pumping it. You go ask them what happened. I've given very rational explanations why you need to be patient with Highcroft. I know that's not popular, but that's based on Highcroft's own published documentations. We got 18 minutes to the GameStop conference call. So yeah, go check with the Highcroft pumpers. Come back and let me know what they said. I'm a Highcroft patienter. I'm a emotionless, cold-blooded Highcroft bull with a long amount of patience. Pantheon says it's all authorized units that convert, not issued units. Oh, really? I did not know that, Pantheon. And see, we can read these documents 20 times, but when they're when there's so many pages, it's easy to miss one key word. All right, I need to go back and read it. Thank you for pointing that out. Clark says, wouldn't the hedge funds also get new AMC shares in a conversion? Anyone that's holding it, Clark. But I want you guys to just consider my theory for a second. My theory being that when APE was released, majority of institutions, I think now, just in the past couple of weeks, it finally dawned on me that most of the institutions probably sold all of theirs because they're not required to hold it for things like ETFs. And by big institutions, I mean like the Vanguards and BlackRocks, the ones that have tens of millions of shares of AMC. I would bet you that they dumped their APE. That's just a guess. There's no 13Fs. I don't know. But it would align with the very fast price drop on APE right after it came out. Wouldn't a conversion back to AMC be the best move? Gus is asking. You know, if AMC's plan is to raise money with APE, and they have unissued APE, and they have the ability to issue even more APE down the road should they need to. They've still got $4 billion more they could issue down the road if they ever got over a barrel. I don't think that they are contemplating anytime soon converting it back, because that is their look. We told them very clearly we don't want more dilution on AMC. They're watching their cash tick down every quarter. They're watching interest rates going up, which means doing debt raises is more problematic and more expensive. And I think they kind of punted. They said, all right, we're gonna create a vehicle for us to raise cash if we need it. And we're also going to tell you that it might give you a share count to make it sound a little better. I know that sounds cynical and kind of mean, right? But in effect, that's what happened. They need the ability to raise money. Doesn't mean that they need it right now. But if you wait till 6 or 9 months from now when you need the money and interest rates are even higher and lenders see that you're not doing so well, if that were the case, it's much harder to go raise money. So I think they did early what they need to do, and I'm hoping to God that he waits until the price of APE comes up to be selling it. Dan says, how can I be so calm about APE when it's going to be in the 70s? I mean, most of what I own is down significantly, Dan. I'm not just AMC and APE. We're in a bear market. I've been through many bear markets, always come out great when they're over. There's no point in me being emotional about it. Scarlett comes home. She's like, how was your day? It sucked. Another bad day in the market. Oh, well, it'll get better soon. She's got the right attitude. It's just a matter of surviving till the market is ready to correct. It might be a quarter from now. It might be a year from now. Me being angry and emotional every day is not going to make anything better. I just take the extra powder that I can move into the market and buy stuff on the dips and hope that one day I buy on the bottom of everything. I'm investing for the long term, so not worried about what happens in 2022 or 2023. As long as I'm better in 2025 or 2030. Jeffrey, I don't know the exact answer to that question. Maybe Pantheon does. Jeffrey's asking, is APE included in the required holdings the execs have? I don't know. I did see that there were some adjustments. I didn't read through them at length. There were some adjustments in the bonusing where they were granted some APE shares, but I don't know if they're required to hold them. Lacked Throne says, Adam said APE was a gift from him to the shareholders. It was a stock split that they called a dividend. I think that is, to say it as nicely as I can without pissing people off, because I know there are haters listening in here that are going to clip this, but that was a bit of wordsmithing, Lacked Throne. Just like the GME dividend was really a stock split. They try and make it sound as good as they can because they need us for the eventual recovery of the company. They need us to hold the stock. And I'm okay with that, I was not expecting APE to fall below $1, right? But I do believe in the company over the long term. Unless something changes and the quarters start turning the other, we start going this direction. We've been doing nothing but this. As long as that's happening, I'm good with it. What they say, I can read through it. Doesn't bother me. Am I worried about being an accessory to a RICO case? I think that must be a joke. No. I don't give dates. I don't give brackets. I don't give price targets. I talk about what I'm doing. Try and read company documentation and share the info with you. John says, since business leverage debt all the time, is it considered bad if a company needs to raise money by such means rather than being profitable with what they're in business to do? It depends on the timing, John, and the condition of the company at that time. So I was looking at comms, for example. And their their financials, and you see this in a lot of companies' risks and warnings in their 10Qs. They'll say, comms actually says flat out, we cannot guarantee that we will be an ongoing concern, an ongoing company within 12 months. Our financial situation is so bad, we cannot guarantee that we're able to raise any money through debt or equity offerings. If depending on the timing, no one may be willing to lend them money, or if they do, it might be under such predatory lending conditions that it creates a death spiral. Ideally, you want to borrow money when your company is financially strong. You don't want to be borrowing it when you're on your knees, when you've been pounded down. Sergeant Beef, what's up? AMC Panda, what's going on? Andrew says we need a big catalyst. Dates go out the window. Earnings won't do it. Box office won't do it. Yeah, I envision parallel paths, Andrew. One being let's just call it the catalyst path. That's a possibility, right? In the world of possibilities, there is a possibility some catalyst that we can't foresee could come along. I call that the unknown catalyst because I haven't been able to prove out any of the other ones, but all of them have some potential merit. But I don't talk about stuff here that I can't bring you guys evidence of. So my other path is fundamentals improvement. That one, unfortunately, requires a very long time frame. Jeffrey asking, can I do TA on GTII? I mean, I did my TA on GTII back in early October, Jeffrey. I said it would never go back over $8. Got a lot of hell for it. A lot of people saying I'm being unreasonable in their videos. Same thing they're doing now with Cosmos. Because I dared to share the actual short interest. How dare he? How dare he tell people it's not 2,000%? Kim, I can't explain what Al's been saying because I don't watch his channel. I just don't watch clickbait channels, guys. Ask him to explain it. Dan, how's my knee doing? I'm about 85% flexibility on the knee before I get pain, Dan. But I didn't go live last night because I haven't, you guys know, I've done live streams the previous 2 nights and still been up at 3 a.m. And I was just knackered. I was tired as hell yesterday evening, and I had my knee iced down. I just took it easy. I got lots of good rest last night, and we'll be doing, once the earnings are out for GameStop here in 5 minutes, I'll hang out with you. We'll listen to the call. And then the next couple hours, I'll do a read through of all the financials and share that with you guys later tonight. But I need some time to read through all that. Thank you for asking on the knee, though. I know everybody in the Discord tells me, just go to the doctor. It's either 2 options, right? Either I can do stretching and try and do rehab, which I have been doing, or I'm going to need surgery or amputation. Joking. James, James is asking, can he put a link in? What are we wanting to link, James? You can send it to me. If you got something I need to share, you can put it in Twitter DM and I can share it. I missed a question up here. Can a preferred stock be shorted? Yes. Yeah. there is short interest on APE. But I think I'm good now after all the research and people sharing stuff with me on Twitter that it cannot be delisted. We've been searching for the answer for a few weeks. Jim says Adam needs to respond to the Seeking Alpha article implying imminent bankruptcy pronto. I mean, that's just stupid. We've got close to $1 billion, wasn't that right, of cash in the bank. Q4 and Q1 probably will be pretty spectacular. We'll still lose some cash in Q4 and Q1, but not at the same rate we did in Q3. These people, they don't take any sort of bullish potential into their analysis. It's just ridiculous. And they did talk about what to expect in Q4, and I tweeted that out a week or two ago. All of the good points about what they said, what their expectations are for Q4. So I don't know if he needs to respond to it. It's already been talked about. What is my opinion of a fair value for AMC not considering the squeeze? Rather than me tell you a price, I always just throw up this chart from Morningstar. That way I get myself off the hook. Let me throw it up here for you. You can only see this if you pay for a membership, so I'll share this with you. So they have, this is Morningstar.com. I think everybody would agree it's a fairly legitimate site. They have fair value on AMC at 1655 with a very high uncertainty. So their algorithm calculates if it's very certain, very uncertain, or extremely uncertain. Obviously, that has to do with volatility in the company's earnings and the economy as a whole. But you can see here they have it marked AMC is at a 59% discount to their estimate for fair value. So there is a answer for you. I don't try and, they have more supercomputer power than I do. Hopefully that is satisfactory. Not counting any squeeze. Jay says, Tony, you don't like pump and dumps like GTII. I didn't say I don't like pump and dumps. Jay, I think you might have misheard me. I've said 1,000 times on live streams and in my Discord especially, we will play the fuck out of them. We love pump and dumps. Something that runs up and back down in a week. But what I call a pump and dump is a company like GTII that's had zero revenue for 5 years and people are pumping it for no reason whatsoever. Right? Do you know GTII is paying their bills because the owner is writing checks? That the two executives, which are also the only two employees, have never taken, like in the last several years, have not gotten paid? Are you going to try and compare something like that to AMC, which is generating billions of dollars and got beaten down because of COVID? There's no comparison. Same thing with Cosmos, unfortunately, until they drastically improve things, or Comms. Comms hasn't even filed quarterly reports in a year. Light and day difference. Pump and dump, retail momentum plays. We love those and we will play them every fucking day we can find them. What I do is try and figure out what is a reasonable point. If someone in New York saying it's going to $1,000, I say, well, I'm going to get out when I see it, whatever it goes to. In the case of GTII, $8-9. When you see it turn around, start coming down, and the volume dropping off, that's your signal based on chart reading to get the fuck out. And yes, maybe that should have been the signal to people for AMC to get out. But I wasn't covering AMC back then. So I'll take a pass on that one. I didn't even turn on my camera till July, and it was because I was so pissed at people doing clickbait. But as a shareholder of the company, I can talk to you about my observation that the company is getting closer and closer to break-even quarters and why I like movies. If you don't want to hear that, don't listen. I don't tell anybody to buy. I've said 100 times, if you don't believe in the CEO or you don't believe in this play, you should get out and put your money to work somewhere else. Simone says, do I have opinion on Prague? Prague, at this point, you know, they need to either monetize their patents or get a buyout. That's Prague's buyer's next hope, Simone. Extremely speculative play, but if one of those happens, you could see it run up. All right, we're at 4 o'clock. Let me pull up this call.
Good afternoon and welcome to the
Can y'all hear that?
second quarter 2022 earnings conference call. Please note that certain statements made during the call constitute forward-looking statements made pursuant to the safe harbor provisions of the Private Securities Litigation Act of 1995, as amended. Such forward-looking statements are subject to both known and unknown risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from such statements. These risks and uncertainties are described in the company's earnings press release and its filings with the SEC. The forward-looking statements today are made as of the date of this call, and the company does not undertake any obligation to update the forward-looking statements. I will now turn the call over to Gamestop CEO, Matt Furlong.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I want to begin by reiterating the deep appreciation we have for our stockholders' unrivaled enthusiasm, passion, and support. As we work to transform GameStop, these remain unique tailwinds for us, ones we always recognize and value. I also want to take this opportunity to thank everyone across the organization for bringing continued focus and intensity to our mission, particularly during an active Q2 that represented a transitional quarter for us. Before covering the quarter's specific initiatives and results, I want to provide a high-level update on where we've been and where we're looking to go as our transformation progresses. When our board began turning over early last year, GameStop was saddled with significant debt, decaying systems, limited employee depth, and a host of other issues. This is why we spent the second half of 2021 and the first half of 2022 making up for years of underinvestment in modernizing the business. The upshot is we now have a more diversified product catalog, strengthened fulfillment network, improved tech stack and e-commerce presence, and fortified corporate infrastructure. Thanks to these improvements, including our SAP implementation, we're able to start focusing on a new set of priorities that include achieving profitability, launching proprietary products, leveraging our brand in new ways, and investing further in our stores. During Q2, we took steps to support each of these new priorities. With respect to pursuing profitability in the coming quarters, we right-sized corporate expenditures and headcount following a period in which the company had hired more than 600 new individuals. These actions, combined with the elimination of one-time expenses in Q1, contributed to a 14.3% reduction in SG&A. We've done this while improving our e-commerce experience and reducing free shipping to customers to 1 to 3 days. We're going to retain a strong focus on cost containment and continue promoting an ownership mentality across the organization. On the product front, our enhanced tech capabilities allowed us to follow the launch of our digital wallet with the launch of our new marketplace that allows gamers, creators, collectors, and others to buy, sell, and trade NFTs. The launch of our NFT marketplace supports GameStop's pursuit of long-term growth in the cryptocurrency, NFT, and Web3 gaming verticals, all of which we expect to be increasingly relevant for the collectors and gamers of the future. When it comes to accretive partnerships, we've been actively exploring opportunities to strengthen GameStop's offerings and increase brand visibility. We're building on the momentum established by our previously disclosed partnerships with organizations like Immutable and Loopring, whether it be through new relationships that support our commerce business, blockchain group, or both. The deal we just announced with FTX is a byproduct of our commerce and blockchain teams working together to establish something unique in the retail world. Lastly, when it comes to investing in our stores, we rolled out an improved
For some reason, it sounded like it pulled up second quarter. Let me try this again. The deal we just announced with FTX. Son of a bitch.
legacy brick-and-mortar business that was on the brink of bankruptcy
All right,
to a
here we go.
retailer that meets customers' needs through our stores, e-commerce properties, and emerging sales channels. This path carries risk and is taking time, but it is the path we are on. With that said, GameStop is a stronger business today than at any time in the recent past. I'll leave it there for this quarter. Thank you.
This concludes today's conference. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.
Well, sorry about that. Let me see if I can rewind on this. Anyways, it was another one of those 5-minute calls. Yeah, can't believe it. I didn't notice it said third quarter. I'm going to try and hit play again. All right, if you weren't here when we went over this earlier, they missed earnings a little bit. Net sales were $1.18 billion compared to $1.3 billion a year ago. Selling, general, and administrative expenses were 32.7% of sales, comparable to third quarter a year ago. Inventory was at $1.13 billion compared to $1.14 billion at the third quarter a year ago. Cash and cash equivalents, $1.04 billion. And still essentially no long-term debt. Let me see if there's anything else of interest here. I'll go through the financials more in detail on tonight's call. I was hoping that they would have more than a 5-minute call today, but obviously they didn't. Sounds like they just probably talked about the same thing that I just read you off those bullet points. No new transformational announcement, at least not tonight. Lackthrone says, what is up with them always having short calls? They keep on saying that, investors need to have patience while they work on their transformational plan. Now that's been going on a year and a half. The good news is sitting here in after hours, it's a couple pennies higher than it was at close. So the market, as of right now, took even though they slightly missed analyst earnings, they're taking it in stride. James says it's on George Gammon's channel, latest video, derivatives, time bomb, black swan event. All right, James, I'll take a look at that after we finish up here. George Gammon. James, I'll pull that up tonight after I have a chance to review it. If that sounds fair. Mr. Mills says, what was the deal with FTX? So last quarter, they did a partnership with FTX. Look, I'm not the GameStop expert. Do we have someone that can explain it? I think it was something to do maybe with the NFT marketplace. I don't know. You guys know I bring GameStop experts on this channel so they can tell us and then go back and talk bad about me. You know what I mean. But yeah, I don't pretend to follow every shred of GameStop news. I own it in case and if and when they have a transformational announcement. That's all I need to know. As long as the financials aren't a wreck and they still have $1 billion in cash and no debt, so it's not a wreck yet, but they are burning cash. Andrew says, I like GME and all, but I never hear anyone say, oh, I have to go to GameStop. There's definitely people that go to GameStop, right? Just because we don't know anybody. I'll tell you a funny story. The last movie that I took my wife to, it was in South Austin, not a movie we normally go to, but they have a nice IMAX in that AMC theater, and it's in a mall. And after we left the movie, she's like, let's just walk around a little bit. And I hate shopping. I just hate it. Shopping without a purpose. If I'm shopping, I want to know what I'm going to get it and get out. But you know how women are. And right outside the AMC theater was a GameStop. And she's like, I actually told her, let's go in here and check the inventory levels, see if anybody's shopping. And of course, I walked in there and I was like, well, there's not really anything I want in here. And she's like, oh, look at this, a little plushy toy. And look at this, look at this. She ended up buying stuff. So there are people like Scarlett that enjoy shopping at GameStop. She's not a gamer. She was just enthralled at all the stuff they have over there. And we have people in the Discord that are very strong GameStop supporters, and they constantly make a case for people shopping at GameStop. So some people shop at GameStop. Someone put up the article about AMC. I did see that headline earlier about a seeking article offer. I'll just talk about this real quick. When I first saw the link come up on the headlines, it was a headline only article. I'm going to need to dig into this more. It's from a guy who tweeted out in 2020 about AMC's lenders getting together to talk about liquidity concerns. And this is a new article that same guy tweeted out. It's on Seeking Alpha. I'll go over that later tonight once I make sure it's legit. But But he's saying that AMC's lenders are worried about liquidity. I don't really know why, considering we have close to $1 billion in the bank too, and 2 strong quarters coming up. But it might be true, might not be. I'll dig into that in the next couple hours, and we'll talk about it tonight. Remember, there is probably a fair amount of FUD going to be trying thrown at AMC before Avatar starts hitting. So I'm just being very cautious about sharing negative information if it's designed to be FUD. RK says you don't hear people talking about GameStop like you don't hear them talking about going to McDonald's. Yeah, I mean, if you're a gamer or you have kids, it might be part of your regular routine. It certainly was part of mine when my 2 boys were young. But I'm not, I don't have young kids anymore, so that's not on our regular stop list. But for many people, it might be. They sold over $1 billion worth of stuff. Somebody's shopping there. That's cool. That's what keeps me in the play. But I want to know about the transformation to take them into the real digital revenue world too. Mike, I've talked a lot about MMTLP. I have not done a super deep dive into MMAT. I have it on my watch list for momentum plays, but it would be not wise for me to try and share any DD with you on MMAT because I haven't done enough. GameStop moving up now, 23.15. LA saying FUD going around, saying a movie like Avatar can't move the price up. Look, guys, anytime you hear something like that, I'm just going to remind you what I see in the charts at the time that Top Gun Maverick came out. I'm not going to tell you. Well, I'll tell you what it did. Maybe it was just coincidence, right? That ticket sales and concessions were through the roof. But over the weeks after Top Gun Maverick came out, AMC price ran up 100%. Slightly more than 100%. Now, some people were just going to say that's just coincidence. Okay, you can have your opinion. My opinion is that contributions to revenue and concessions and overwhelming evidence that people are going to movies contributes to upward momentum in the stock price and weakens the short thesis. Andrew is asking, is Best Buy big by us? Yeah, I would say it's fairly popular, Andrew. I shop there, and every time I'm in there, it's packed. Packed might be, I didn't go during the Black Friday sales, but it usually has a decent crowd. I'm always having to wait in line to check out, and there's always 3 cashiers. I've never just walked straight up to a cashier. So I would call it fairly busy. Let's see what AMC's doing after hours. Up 2%. GameStop is up also 2%, 2.8. We'll take it. Any green after hours is better than the alternative. I was thinking, not wanting to say that the AMC being dragged down today might have been parallel fear with GameStop getting dragged after hours. Fortunately, it did not. Maybe the AMC getting run down was due to rumors like that Seeking Alpha article. I'll dig into that a little more between now and 8:30. So I'll be back with you guys in about 4 hours for late night chat. You have time to go get a 6-pack or your favorite bottle of scotch, and we can hang out talk about that article on Seeking Alpha, talk about whatever other stocks you want to talk about, and anything that I can glean from GameStop's financials. That's what I'm going to be working on. And if I have chance, I'll take a quick look at MMAT, since people are still interested in that one. I don't think the financials are great, but I haven't looked at them recently, so I probably shouldn't comment on MMAT because I don't know. Lordy, have a good night to you in Germany. We'll see you mañana. I'll be live in the morning too. Just checking the last questions here. What are the mechanics of a short squeeze? Joseph is asking. So I have 4 criteria in my definition, Joseph. Everybody has different definitions. I'm not saying mine's right. I'm not saying others are wrong. There's definitely going to be people that don't like my definition. Can already tell you. But high short interest, the higher the better, right? GameStop was over 100% when it had its huge run up. But AMC was just barely over 20 in June when it had its big run up. So I kind of say at least 20%, but the higher the better. Some sort of catalyst like Ryan Cohen and GameStop. I don't know what the catalyst was for AMC in June, but the catalyst creates that buying momentum, gets people buying the stock up. The real people that want it to squeeze, and then the FOMO on top of that. A loaded up options chain, whether it was already preloaded or it gets loaded up due to the catalyst and the buying momentum, that can send it even higher. And GameStop had in January, when it squoze, a tremendously loaded up options chain in addition to super high short interest. What else am I missing? Short interest, a catalyst, loaded options chain. I feel like there's one other thing I usually add to that. I might have included it in the second one. Just unrelenting buying pressure. The shorts will start closing out those shorts or covering them when they get routed out by the price going up. And if the options chain is loaded, it's just like dynamite on top of a gasoline fire. So you want a huge squeeze, you need to have all of those things. Meagle says, are we worried after Avatar the theaters might not have good movies? I mean, I think the general consensus, Meagle, is that 2023, the schedule we've seen, maybe I'll do a video about it. The schedule we've seen of movies is far more releases and better releases than we had in 2022. Is it going to be at 2019 levels? No, I don't think we're quite there yet in 2023 because the production companies are still getting projects filmed and up and running and edited and all that. So better than this year, though. 2023 should be better than 2022. How does the options chain look for AMC? I haven't even looked at them recently. I mean, it's pointless right now when the prices are getting dragged down to worry about that. I have a couple of options on AMC in different date ranges with some December and January coming up, just in case. Not a shit ton of them, just a few, just in case we get a December Avatar push. But, you know, if I lose those, it's not a big deal. Steven says AMC should expect 20 to 30% more revenue for movies in 2023. Thank you for that, Steven. All right, guys, with that, thanks for hanging out with me the last couple hours. I got a little bit of work to do for you between now and 8:30 Central. We will see you back in about 4 hours from now. We'll go over, as I said, the AMC Seeking Alpha news article, GameStop financials, maybe MMAT, and whatever else y'all want to talk about tonight. Just kick back, have a drink, have some fun, and kill some time before we got to wake up tomorrow morning. Take care.